So Get you in the mood for Sunday's Reminisce, Carnival. And of course, those of you who've been to Reminisce before will know that Book of Shade closed the party 2 years ago, so I thought I would close my set with this one. In White Rooms. You're listening to Kiss Melbourne.
John Course. Ooh.
Nice ambient finish to the...
I don't remember that bit of... Well, I suppose we never get to hear it normally.
We never get to that. It's always in the mix by then.
Yeah. That was awesome. Thanks, John.
Pleasure.
What's news? You're glad to be out and about again? And
yeah. Oh, it's fantastic to be doing gigs again and seeing people dancing. And, you know, it's just a... I mean, you can play all the music you want from home and you can do stream. I mean, I did a massive stream, as I was just saying before to you, off air, 57 weeks or something, Saturday nights. And the feedback online was amazing, but you still don't have that energy of the dance floor right in front of you. And, last weekend I did Adelaide on Friday. I did a private event and then 2 club things on Saturday. And then I did a big dance party for schoolies down in Mornington Peninsula on Sunday.
How was that?
Amazing. And Sunday night I did Sky Disco in the city, so it was a real broad spectrum of places that I went, and the energy is just great. And even the under 18s, I mean, it was a schoolies thing, so there was 16, 17-year-old section, and then there was an 18, 19-year-old section. It was separate because they were licensed. Yep. But the energy of the kids, who were like the people at the front, was as good as I can ever remember the energy being anywhere, and those people are probably experiencing their first dance party potentially, like, because there's been nothing on for 2 years, and they were into music, and I played new things, and they just went with the flow and got into it. I played some things that they knew, so it's good.
Play something good and play something I know.
Well, luckily I was far enough away that
they couldn't do that.
They could try, but I could just pretend not to hear if they did.
What do you reckon's the most classic line you've ever heard as a request or someone coming up to you?
Oh, look, I think the classic old, it'll go off. Like, K-Sand by Jimmy Barnes goes off. Doesn't mean I want to play it. Look, it's interesting because I was talking to I don't know if you know Funky Cole, obviously.
I do, indeed.
Very good friend of mine, and we were talking about music and how kind of the pandemic has... people have got so used to hearing their own playlists in their own space. Mm-hmm. And those playlists can be very specialist, obviously. Yes. Because they find some weird, obscure record that they like, and they're like... and then they come out and they think that every DJ should have that weird, obscure record because they've heard it all year for the last year in their playlist at home. And we were saying that it feels like an element of the punters that are coming out, they're quite demanding about what they expect a DJ to just play for them, and when you don't have it or you don't feel that it fits the vibe, they're like, well, how can you not play this song? This is my favourite song. And so it's interesting how that kind of on-demand music kind of culture that is out there now, where everybody can access everything all the time, flows through to DJ sets, especially in, I guess, more commercial clubs where there's just so much music that people listen to, They
expect you to be the DJ on demand. Yeah,
and it's kind of like... I think, obviously there's a whole element of people that understand club culture, and the DJ does their thing, and if you want to hear underground trance, you go here, and if you want to hear techno or whatever. But there's those people that obviously, just go...
Newbies.
Yeah, they just go to wherever they go, and it's just an interesting interaction at the moment. But at the same time, there's also a wave of new people coming through, like I said before, that, they're totally open-minded, and they don't know what to expect, and they're not locked into a particular experience yet. I don't think it feels like that. So in a way, you've got like 2 years of people coming through where normally there'd be like a couple of months at a time. Yeah. And now there's this whole wave. Yeah, and they're kind of coming into a club and just going with the flow in many cases. So you've got like these people that are super demanding on one end, and on the other end you've got these people who are super open-minded and just want to get in there and go, what's this clubbing thing all about? What's this, Electric on Chapel Street or 161, or what's this experience like, and they just open to it. So it's kind of cool.
Have you seen the top 50 for Sunday?
I absolutely have.
And any surprises?
No. Yeah, I mean...
Standout surprises?
You know what? There's always surprises. It never ceases to amaze me that records pop up and things that I don't expect. I mean, I played in that set earlier a track called Sun and Moon, which is a trance record from 2010, and I probably hadn't, I had it in my collection, but I hadn't played it for years. Yeah. And last year at Reminisce, in March this year, at the start of the year, there was one at the bowl, and that got voted in. And I was like, wow, I've got to dig this out. And it just...
You and I were talking. I mean, Reminisce started at it's a small thing, and then at the Prince, as we were talking about, and was sort of linked to One Love, and how now you're seeing far more not just house music in there, but trance, like you say.
Yeah, I mean the music spectrum has gone from being. I mean, it was almost like a retro One Love party kind of 5 or 6 years on at the very start. It was in the same venue, a lot of the same people. Obviously, the guys that run and come up with the Reminisce concept all used to go to One Love. And then as it's got bigger and it moved to the bowl, it's kind of spread its musical wings, because there's now, instead of like 1,000 people going, there's 5,000 people going. So there's a lot more votes. And there's a lot more obscure tracks that kind of get closer to the top 50, and the top 50 is much more diverse. So from a listening to angle, it's kind of like a set that you would never, ever hear a DJ play, really.
Well, you would say, some of them it's hard to mix from one into the next, isn't it? You're sort of the jukebox. As
they're putting it together, they're always like having a laugh, like, oh, of course you like this one. You've got to go from Darude into like In White Rooms by Booker Shade. Good luck with that. We'll leave that with you to figure it out.
But it's the one time you can actually get away with doing something like that, and the crowd not going, oh, fuck, what's he doing? They're all, they're there because they want to hear it.
And that's also the thing, is like the randomness of the music and the way it flows is completely different to, whether it be me or you or any other DJ. We would never play that set of music in that order. It would get played where it would kind of probably go, from a slower house thing, it would build up in energy, and then you might drop it back, and then towards the end of the night you would build it up again. Whereas this could literally be the most low energy song, could be number 2 on the countdown, and the second last song, and the first song could be Born Slippy, which is just banging energy, So it kind of creates a unique vibe, and also I think people in the crowd thinking, when's my song going to come up? This is in my top 5, and saying to their friends, oh, I voted for this one, and that energy combined with a random set of playlists and the fact that everything's known. There's no kind of like... I mean, there are people that actually don't know. I mean, people said to me, my wife was like, I don't know this song. What's this song? So people still don't know some songs in there, because it might be a trance song that's become really big in the trance scene, and they've always been a house head, or vice versa. It could be a techno thing or an underground thing. So it's good though.
What's the plan for you? We've got lots of gigs over the summer, I suppose, and
Yes, summer's backfiring. Working on some music. Obviously, I think we're going to play something that me and Slick have got coming out very soon. But I was in the studio with him again this morning, working on a remix for Soul Central, who are UK act. So we're doing a remix for one of their tracks. And I mean, I've got a little baby girl coming in January, so that's going to keep me.
And it was just your anniversary too, wasn't it?
Yes, so that's going to keep me very busy on a front, nothing to do with music. So I'm trying to get some music stuff in now.
Maybe you should do some remixes of nursery rhymes.
Hey, look, the Wiggles remix album. You never know. I could be doing a dance party for all ages.
Tell me, you and Andy, a.k.a. Sergeant Slick, long-time friends and collaborators.
Yeah.
How does that work with you two?
We've known each other for... I mean, Andy signed to Vicious in like 1993 or something, and we've worked with him as an artist, signing his music and kind of A&Ring and dealing with him about music ever since he started making it. But also we're mates, and when he came back from the US a couple of years ago, we were kind of like just wanted to work on a bit of music together and just see how it goes, and it's flowed really well. I mean,
I'm interested, how does that work? Like, does only one of you sit at the computer, or...?
It depends. Like, on the remix that we're working on at the moment, as an example, I did all of the arrangement and started off the whole thing and had it... Basically, we didn't change any of the arrangement today at all. So that was finished before we went in the studio today, and I'd done that.
Yep.
And then when we sat down in the studio, he pulls up all the stems, and then we start to get, add some more musical elements and really nail the sonics. And, he's more... I mean, look, he's got great ideas, so just between us, we kind of gel, but he's the guy probably driving the tech side of it.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of initially driving ideas, and... even on the Love Vision track that you've got now, we were sitting in the studio and just listening to various samples and bits and pieces, and he played me a bit of this song that was looping round, and I was like, I'm not really feeling it. And then he let the song play, and another part come up, and I'm like, hey, just loop that round for a second, and just have it.
Right.
And then I was like, hey, let's use this to start something off, and that grew into Love Vision. So
is that normally how it would work with?
Yeah,
when you two
I mean, most of the time we just sit down with rough ideas of where we want to go, or he'll have a starting point, or I'll have a starting point. Like on today's mix, as I said, I had all of the original parts. I got the stems, I laid them out in Ableton, did the new arrangement, started on the beats, and laying out the vocal. It doesn't have a vocal, sorry. Laying out, it's got like these horns and the bass line section, and it was all basically arranged, and then he goes and tweaks it from there. I just recently did a remix of his Gimme 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 track, like a more tech housey kind of. It's hardly got any vocals. It's just because the song's been around so long and it's still got momentum, but some people are sick of hearing it. So I was like, I'm going to kind of reinvent it a little bit. On that, I just did the whole thing myself, and then he just helped me mix it down because he's got great technical skills on that front.
Yep.
But all of the sounds and all of the arrangement and all of the building of it was me. And then other times he might build something up that when we're doing a remix, he might start it and I'll finish it.
You and Andy Van, of course, have been partners in crime,
Yes.
Vicious and so forth for 30-odd years.
Yep.
I haven't noticed you working with Andy at all lately.
No, I mean...
why is that? Do you guys just do your own projects?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't... The last thing I did with Andy was a remix about 5 or 6 years ago of something. I can't remember what it was. But really, it's just because he's concentrating on his Super Disco Club thing. Yeah. I mean, me and Slick did a remix of Super Disco Club. There's a Jark remix.
I noticed Claptone played it in his show today.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yes, it's been getting heaps of support, that Happiness record, definitely. So, yeah, it's not really just anything apart from he's kind of on his tip and I'm on my tip, and we're just working independently. I mean, he's working pretty hard on that Super Disco Club project, and obviously he works with Cassie, his wife, so they can work on that from home. And I mean, on a listening to music front and on an A&R front, we're always crossing paths on music and talking about music with Vicious, because obviously, Andy's listening to all the Vicious stuff as it comes through, and I'm feeding into that as well. So on that front, we see each other all the time. And
you've never. I mean, I've always known you as a DJ and remixer, producer, but you've never done an act on your own, have you? Like Andy's had, Madison Avenue.
Yeah, not really. I mean,
why is that? You never.
I had Electro Funk Lovers, which was with Mr. Timothy.
Yeah, well, that's going back a while, though.
Yeah, that's probably 10 years ago now. And I've done a couple of things as just JAC, a couple of underground things, which is just me, by myself. And then I did Just a Little last year, a house, which was like a house cover version of the old R&B track by Liberty X. I mean, I guess it's kind of like...
Do you like working on your own? Is that what it is? Do you think? Well, not. I mean, you obviously work with Andy.
I like collaborating because it's kind of like you can... there's so many skills. There's such a huge skill set you have to be able to finish a record, and that could range from engineering to understanding, the computer software, to having the ideas and to having the musical ability to actually turn those ideas into something. And there's certainly areas where I am really good at, and there's other areas that I'm not as good at. And it's kind of like, how much time would I have to spend to be as proficient in the studio, as an example, as Sergeant Slick is? I'd probably have to put in,
just dedicate
2
your life
days.
to it.
2 days. I'd have to put in at least 2 days a week for the next year, just to learn the technical skills, and yet I'd still have the same idea. Yeah. So if I partner up with somebody like Andy now, I can still drive the core idea. I mean, I can run Ableton and I can understand all that stuff, but I'm talking about finishing it to the level that I'd want it to be. So the collaboration process allows you to tap into other people's kind of skill set, and also at the same time, the things that me and Slick work on together, they definitely have a different flavour to them than a Sergeant Slick record, and that's because creatively I'm part of it. And my mentality has been for a long time, I mean, when I first got into DJing, I was asked to be in a band, and the people in the band were the two people from I'm Talking after I'm Talking had split up, and a guy called Larry Weems, who was a vocalist.
He was on Razor Cuts with you.
Yes, he was on the Razor
Gavin's
album.
remastered.
That's right. And that project, those guys were like, hey, you're in the room. You're steering the creative direction of this record. You're as much involved in it as we are. We're all equal on it. And that mentality is how I've approached all music ever since. Collaborations, there's been a lot of stuff in the media recently about the kind of like the Jolene Petchin dreams and should she have got credited and all that stuff. It's kind of like there are no rules. There's no right way and there's no wrong way. As long as you openly deal with everybody and you work it out, you work it out. And so my mentality has always been kind of like, if I've got all the ideas and somebody else has got the technical skills, then we're making the record together. Or vice versa, if I arranged the record today and laid it all out how I wanted it to be, but it's still me and Slick who've done the remix. It's not like he just engineered it because he's
putting an input,
he's creative input at the end of the day as well. So I think collaboration is the great thing about it, is that you get to learn off other people and tap into their skills, and B, it fast tracks you to a finished product, because if somebody was an absolute studio gun, they might have no idea about what happens on a dance floor, and DJs on that front are the best people to collaborate with.
Sure.
So,
the algorithm.
But that's why you see so many projects where there's a DJ and there's a studio bod, and between them, the studio bod wants to do, some key riff with a seventh here, and the DJ's going, no, strip it back, pull it out, make it easy, make it simple, make it like this, make it like this. And if the record sounds different because the person in the room helped make it sound different, they're part of the creative process. Whether they touch the computer, whether they touch the keyboard, the record sounds different because of them. So they're part of either the producer or potentially the writer as well.
Sure. Just to finish up, John, I think, can you, in 100 words or less, and I know that's a challenge for you, hot tip for anyone, a young aspiring DJ / producer, what would you say to them? Is it just keep at it, or,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have to, firstly, I think you have to, you got to make sure you apply yourself. It just doesn't come to you, and all these people like Dom Dollars and Fishers and that are superstars around the world. I mean, Dom Dollar played at One Love in 2008, and he's a household name now in 2011.
Right across the States, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think perseverance, and, be nice to people, because at the end of the day, there could be 100 people that somebody wants to help, and they're going to help the people that they like. They're not going to help the people that they don't like.
Yeah.
And just, I think, stay humble about what you do, and also try and find a trusted ear. Because whether it be an A&R person or a manager or another DJ that you trust their opinion, or it can be anybody. It could be your friend if you think they've got the right taste in music. But I think you need to bounce off people, because otherwise you've got to have people that will honestly say to you, look, Tim, I think the record's cool, but, that part kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And you've got to have people that you trust, that when they tell you that, that they're not being A, mean to you, and B, also not just kind of pissing in your pocket and telling you, oh, that's amazing, when really it's not that amazing.
Yeah.
So,
well, it brings it to, do you think musicality or does someone inherently have something in them that's about the music, if you know what I mean? Or if you don't have that, should you just not even consider it?
Well, I think, I guess, natural selection ends up that if something's really hard for you to do, you end up probably not doing it.
Yeah.
And you do something else. Like, I would find it hard to climb mountains, so I'd try one day. I might watch a documentary and go, wow, it'd be great to climb Mount Everest. Then I'll go and climb Mount Waverley, and I'll be like, this is not for me. Yeah. So I think, natural selection kind of sorts a little bit of that out. And there's definitely people, I mean, I've seen people on a dance floor and they're dancing out of time, so they're going to struggle to make music because they can't even hear the beat. So that's probably a problem. But I would think that most of those people realise that. And I guess this is where, when we talk about a trusted ear, it's, if you know that somebody's into music and good at it, and they're giving you feedback that something you're doing isn't great, then you have to trust that maybe that's true. That doesn't mean that you give up as soon as you send a demo to somebody and they say no, because, some of the biggest bands in the world have been knocked back and not signed. Yeah. But I think that if the general consensus is that, things aren't sounding great and everyone kind of politely tells you that, maybe it's not your thing. Yeah. And on the flip side, I think there's definitely a natural affinity that some people have where they can just, hear music in a way that none of us can, I remember Andy, the breakbeat guy from years ago. Andy Page. Yeah. As an example, Andy Page, I remember him standing in a room and there was a drill going on the other side of the wall at a construction site, and he's like, that drill's in like the key of C or something. And I'm like, wow. You must get really annoyed when there's a DJ mixing out a key. So some people have just got kind of what I refer to as dog ears, where they can hear every little piece of music that's wrong. And those people obviously have got a natural affinity that they can just sit down and play something and work it out and hear every little nuance. And then there's just people who, just dig music and have a crack at it. And that's the great thing, I guess, these days is, you can have a studio on your laptop. You can try things, and if it's good, it's good, and it can get out there. And if it's bad, I guess it also gets out there, but it just doesn't go anywhere.
Sure. John, thanks for coming in. Reminisce, it's happening Sundays. Tickets are still available. We're going to finish up with the track you've just released. It's in the KISS chart. People can listen to it if they want to at kissfm.com.au, and we're going to play it now. But I noted when I heard it, and you confirmed it, I said, Pete Heller. And you said, yeah, Big Love.
No, it's got a vibe similar to, musically it's nothing the same. It just creates a feeling that is quite similar. And when we made the track, we were kind of sitting back and going, wow, it's got quite a special kind of warm, happy, but it's not in your face. It's very subtle. Yeah. So we're super happy to have it out. We're going to be working on a top line vocal, but initially this is the original version, which doesn't have a vocal, and is just
so stand by for vocal. Maybe soon.
Just a beautiful string house disco track.
It's
correct.
Very, very nice. John, thank you. It's called A Love Vision. It's done with Sergeant Slick, and thanks, mate.
Cheers.
Take two. Sorry about that, John.
That was
your track.
That was Tim's KISS remix of
well,
This Is Our Record.
Yes, this is it. All right, thanks, mate.